Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to take you through my MAC palettes. I have two. I do have a few other shadows which I'm not going to share with you either because they've not been depotted or they're in a Z palette, which is kind of a work in progress. I can't really decide what I'm going to do because this is one of the MAC palettes. And as you can see, this one I don't have an insert in it, so I managed to get more shadows in it, whereas when you have the insert they look like this. This just clips in the palette. I've only taken it out so I can pop the shadows out to show you easily. It looks like this, so you obviously don't get as many, you can only fit 15 in there. And because I haven't decided, and they are more like vibrant colours, it's blues and greens and a black and stuff like that, I thought as these are more my neutral ones, I would get on and show you these. I'm going to start off with this palette here, and they're not really in any particular order. I have just kind of kept my oranges and the brown tones and then all the sort of like highlight shades together. Not for any reason, that's just kind of how it worked out. So I'm going to start off and just work my way across. This is Crystal Avalanche, and this is a true sort of white with some shimmer through it. Really nice for an inner corner highlight if you like a really nice bright highlight. My next one is Rite of Spring. Now this was actually a limited edition and this is a velvet pearl. Not as pigmented as some of the others, definitely not as pigmented as Crystal Avalanche. This one has more of a pink undertone. You can just see it there. So it's a lot more subtle and a lot more gentle. But as I mentioned, that one was a limited edition. Next up, we have one of my favourites, and this is Shroom. And Shroom is a satin finish. With Shroom, it works on a lot of different skin tones. Up to, I would say, I wear in MAC, I'm like an NC 30, 35 depending, and I can get away without it looking too ashy on me. So if you're a little bit dark, you might want to go really careful, but for fair skin it really is a beautiful colour. It works really nicely as a brow highlight and as an inner corner highlight. It's a little bit softer and it's got, looking at it, it's got a little bit more of sort of like that pinky undertone. Next up I have Dazzle Light, and Dazzle Light is a really pretty cream highlight again. I forget which finish this one is. As you can see, it's a little bit brighter than Shroom, so it's a little bit more intense. So if you want a little bit more intensity but not the full works like Crystal Avalanche, then this is a nice one to choose. I find myself reaching for this a little bit more than Shroom because I find it a little bit more neutral. Next up we have Mylar. Now Mylar is a shade that YouTube made me buy because I saw everybody using this on inner corner, and I thought, why haven't I tried that? Why don't I have it? Probably because you have 9 other colours, Maria, that you could use instead. But anyway, but Mylar is a very soft highlight. When you actually look at these all together, it does become clear that you don't need them all. But Mylar, it's a little bit more on the white side, but it's actually very gentle. It just looks more like, I would say, like lit from within. It's not as obvious on the skin. It takes a little bit more to build up. Okay, moving on to Rice Paper. Now Rice Paper is definitely more of a beige or more of a yellow undertone, and this is a frost finish. It is definitely more yellow. You can see even there in the camera. I'm actually going to swatch this one underneath so that I don't start going all up my arm and you can actually see where I'm putting these. So yeah, this one here is Rice Paper. So on me, this is probably the most subtle. With frost finishes, I'm not a huge fan of them underneath my brow bone. I do like more of a matte highlight underneath my brow bone. But this is something that, again, I chop and change. But if you're looking for a really nice sort of like warm, golden, frosty finish for the brow bone, Rice Paper works an absolute treat. This is a colour you will have all heard of. This is Nylon, and this is a super shiny, super vibrant inner corner highlight. Too much for me personally to use on my brow bone. It is more gold tone, so that is why I like it on my inner corner. But as you can see, really bright, really vibrant. And this is the last one, and this was out of the Hello Kitty sets years ago, and it was called Creme Royale, and it was limited edition. It is a really pretty golden cream colour that just adds a little bit of warmth to the brow bone. I quite like this one on my inner corner as well. quite soft. As you can see, it is buildable. Not going to talk about it too much because it was limited, as I mentioned, but these are all of the MAC highlight shades that I have in my palette. I just wanted to zoom in for you and show you those a little bit more close up in detail. I will link all the colours as I mention them down below. So if you like one of these and you can't remember which one it is, it will be in the down bar. I'm going to move on to some of these warmer sort of colours over here. The first one, and a colour that I have hit pan on, is bronze, and this is a frost finish. Now this is exactly what it says. It is a bronzy brown with a really nice glow to it. I am all about browns and shimmers, as you know, so this one for me has been a staple for many, many years, hence why I've hit pan on it. A really good basic if you're looking to start building a MAC palette and you are a friend of sort of like shimmers or frosts, then definitely one that you should check out. Moving on, we're getting more into like the pinky sort of bronzes now, and this one here is Expensive Pink. Now this is still fairly new to me, however it is a colour that I am obsessed with. It is like a golden peach tone that is just so beautiful. I could wear it every single day and never get bored of it. Next one that I've got quite a dent in, which is very similar but is a bit more chunky, and this is a luster finish. This is Mythology. Now with Mythology, it is one of those shadows that you will either love or hate. I go through phases with it. Sometimes I'm like, it's too chunky. Sometimes I just am obsessed by it. And compared to Expensive Pink, as you can see, it's got a little bit more of an orange undertone. Now this is a shadow that I love, but I do not hear enough about, and this is Antiqued, and this is a Velux Pearl. Now this is a really, really unusual finish from MAC because it has got a really nice shimmer to it, but I find them really, really creamy. As you can see, it's a bit more similar to bronze, but it's got that really nice deep colour to it. It literally looks like an antique sitting on the side. It is just beautiful. It's really creamy. It looks beautiful as eyeliner. I like to wear this all over my lid with lots of black mascara and very little liner. It looks really, really pretty. So for me, a little bit of a must-have. Something a little bit different is Rule, and Rule is a matte shadow, and this is just a matte orange, and it is a definite orange. This is something I like to put in my crease when I'm doing like a really nice smoked out look, because it just adds so much, and it actually works with a large array of colours. I really like this with purple. One of my shadows that I'm going to show you a bit later, Sketch, it works like a dream together, and it's one of my favourite combinations. So this is Rule, one not to be scared of, even though it looks really, really punchy in the pan. Next up, another vibrant orange tone is Red Brick, and Red Brick again is a matte. This will be a colour that I will use with Rule because it gives a really, really nice sort of like transition, as you can see. This, I suppose, would be very similar to Poppy, I'm guessing, from Makeup Geek. I don't have that one, but I've seen swatches and it looks very, very similar. As you can see, it is just a nice, bright, vibrant, orangey red. And then the last of these type of tones is this one, and this is Coppering. Now, Coppering is just beautiful. It is a pinky, orangey little piece of warm heaven. I love this eyeshadow. For me, it is one that I, again, can wear just all over my lid with very, very little else. And I can blend it out with either a really strong crease colour or something very, very soft. But it is just beautiful. It works gorgeous with Red Brick and Rule if you want that real variant, but also works beautifully with browns and blacks. So here you have my oranges and warm brown sort of section, and you can just see the difference there between Rule and Red Brick. It's just a little bit more obvious close up. So moving on, one down, one to go, and this is my most used MAC palette because it's all my favourite colours. As I mentioned, I'm more of a fan of normally a matte brow highlight, so I don't reach for this one as much as I should. Right, I'm going to start and just work my way across, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a row at a time and then photograph it for you again. So this is the first one, and this is Amberlights. Now Amberlights is a very, very yellow based gold. It's very, very pretty, very intense, It actually is a bit more orangey on the skin than you would imagine. It is actually a true amber and really, really pretty. Next up, Woodwinked. Now this is more of a cool tone neutral. It's not quite a taupe, but it's not a definite brown either. It's almost like a golden taupe, if that makes sense. It hasn't really got that purple undertone, but it has definitely got that something that almost makes it look taupey. And you can see how beautiful and reflective that is. It is a gorgeous colour and for me a must have. Next up we have Tempting. Now Tempting is like Woodwinked's big brother. So this one has got a lot more depth to it, but it's still got that beautiful metallicness, and it's not quite as cool toned, but it's definitely not a warm shadow either. Very, very pretty. Does have a little bit of fallout to it. For me, if I've got Woodwinked, then I'm happy. I wouldn't necessarily have to have Tempting, but a really great colour nonetheless. And probably the three fairest tones out of the whole palette, and I've reached pan on all of these. This is Gleam, and Gleam is a luster finish. Again, a little bit chunky. It's got a little bit of glitter in it. Just a really, really nice shimmery lid colour with a pink undertone. Okay, my next shadow is Goldbit. Now, the one that I'm going to show you in a minute, everybody talks about, but of the two, this is definitely my favourite. As you can see, I have really, really hit pan on this. I definitely need to invest in a new one. It is a luster finish again, so it does have a little bit of sparkle to it. I actually swatched it before because where it is so difficult, but you can see it just here. It's a really, really light, pinky peachy colour that looks beautiful on the lid. It looks lovely on the inner corner as well. The one that seems to always get talked about is All That Glitters, and All That Glitters is a Velux pearl. For me, it is more of a pinky golden tone. For me, not a must have. It goes a little bit like a dirty pink on me, as you can see just there. Very pretty, not a must have. I would rather have Goldbit, but this is one that I hear tons and tons of people talk about. It does apply really beautifully and it's really creamy, but it's just the colour isn't my particular favourite. So here you can see my top row, and this one here, you can just see it a little bit better now that I've zoomed in for you, but Goldbit for me is a winner, and this is All That Glitters that it gets compared to an awful, awful lot. Next up we have Soft Brown, a really, really popular and very well known transition colour. It's a very, very pretty tan shade that just adds the perfect warmth to sort of like anything from a light medium to a medium dark skin tone when you're doing your shadow. A really, really good basic. Next up we have Haux, and Haux is the equivalent of Soft Brown but with more of a purple undertone. It is cool, but it works absolutely beautiful for a cooler tone smoky eye, sorry, as your transition shade, or if you want to do something really vibrant and purple, it works an absolute treat. Now Swiss Chocolate is one of my all-time favourite shadows, and for me this is a definite must-have. This is exactly that colour, the colour of Swiss Chocolate. Imagine like a bar of Galaxy and just blending it into your crease. Literally incredible. As I mentioned, a must-have for me. I love the tone, I love the depth of colour, and I love how it looks on my eyes. For me, a winner every single time. And this little beauty is Foile, and Foile is like one shade up from Swiss Brown, a little bit deeper with a little bit more punch. It's really beautiful again, and if you do a little bit of Soft Brown, a little bit of Swiss Chocolate, and then a little bit of Foile, you will have the most beautiful blended soft smoky look in your crease. Absolutely beautiful. Then we have Brown Down. Now Brown Down is more of a cool tone. I actually have a tiny little bit of this through my crease today. Now the texture of this shadow is literally ridiculous. It is so soft and creamy, but without being powdery. It literally doesn't even feel, when you rub it, it doesn't even feel like eyeshadow. It just feels amazing. With this one, it has got a lot of depth to it, so I do find that you have to go with a light hand just to get that nice softness, but absolutely beautiful. And as you can see, just one step deeper again. Last of my matte colours that I like to blend out my crease with is Embark, and Embark is a deep purpley brown sexy juicy colour, and I'm going to put this at the bottom. It is absolutely beautiful because it's got those almost purpley undertones. It works with a multitude of eyes. Again, a must-have. I love that on the lower lash line when I blend it out, it just looks phenomenal. So absolutely gorgeous. So here you go, you can see we've got soft brown and Haux, then we've got Swiss chocolate, Foile, brown down and Embarked. One of my all-time favourite shades, but a shade I personally tend to wear more in the autumn and winter, and this is Cranberry. Now Cranberry is a colour that every winter when it comes around, I'm very excited to put it back on my eyes. It is literally a cranberry berry tone that looks beautiful, really nice and warm, really juicy. This is actually beautiful in the summer, and I don't reach for it as much as I should because I really like those sort of like pinks and oranges on my eyes. I should wear this in the summer definitely more often. I love Cranberry. The next shadow that I'm going to show you is this one here, and this is Sable. Now Sable is like a more chocolatey version of Woodwinked that I showed you earlier. Really, really pretty, very, very soft, quite a delicate colour, and one that I don't hear enough about. A nice neutral brown that's quite gentle and good for every day. If you just want that one colour all over the lid and bring it up to your socket a little bit, this would look really, really pretty. Then we have Mulch. Now Mulch is a little bit deeper, it is a luster finish, so it has those little bits of sparkle in it again, but it's really, really nice and rich and juicy. It is, I would say, a little bit, would I say that's a cool tone? I'd say it's a neutral actually. It's a little bit cool, but it's a little bit warm, but it's not really either. It is definitely a neutral. And Mulch, again, is one of those great colours that if you just want to wear one eyeshadow all over, this will do the trick, and it will give you a nice multi-dimensional eye. Now the next shadow I'm going to show you is Patina. Now Patina is a colour, it's quite unusual, and I wouldn't really know how to describe it. It's just a very, very soft, I want to say gold, but it's more of a beigey gold, but it's a quite neutral again. It's got a soft amount of shimmer to it, but it's not super shimmery like some of the others. But it, again, like these two here, really, really nice all over the lid for a really, really quick look. I actually like wearing Patina on my lower lash line because it just gives a little bit of interest, but it's still quite delicate and natural. The shadow you will have all heard of and probably all own is Satin Taupe, the ultimate taupe. And I was obsessed with this colour for a long, long time. Now, being completely honest, it's not one that I reach for as often. I think I wear it maybe a couple of times a year, but it is exactly what it says. It is a satin taupe finish. So we've got a nice purpley brown with just the right amount of sheen to it and shimmer to give real nice dimension on the eyes. And lastly, in this row, we have Beauty Mark. Now, Beauty Mark, for me, it's a shadow that you will either love or hate. I love working with it and putting it on my eyes, but it takes a lot of work to get it to look like it does in the pan. It is like a blackened plum with tiny micro glitter in it, and that is a really, really heavy swatch. I've really had to swirl it in there to get that. When you actually get it on the eye, it takes a lot of building and it can go quite patchy. So for me, I would rather use something like Braveheart from the Naked 3 from Urban Decay, but it's one of those, I don't know that I can be without it because it's such a beautiful colour. It's just that I have to have the time to work with it. Here you can see just how beautiful and juicy Cranberry really is. And then down here we have Patina. And even in the swatch you can see it's kind of patchy, and this is the Beauty Marked. As I mentioned, really, really pretty shadow, but one that takes a lot of work. So finally onto the last row. Hopefully this video, I won't have to cut it too much and it won't be too horrifically long, but if it's a bit choppy, I do apologise. It's because I've rambled an awful lot. Okay, so the first one in the last row is this, and this is Star Violet. Now Star Violet is quite an unusual colour. It's like a pinky mauve, really, really pretty. Works beautifully with Cranberry, super pigmented and really, really creamy on the skin, and it has a beautiful radiance to it. I absolutely love this colour. Next up we have Trax. Now to me Trax is a little bit of a dud. Swatches okay, applies okay, takes a lot of building. Not as pigmented as it looks in its swatch, but even that swatch isn't that pigmented. It's a soft purple, I would say like an African violet sort of colour with a little bit of gold through it. Not a must have, and one that if I was repurchasing, I definitely wouldn't, so not one for me. Then we have Shale. Now Shale is a really unusual colour. It is a cool lavender toned grey, something very different for me, but a colour that I really enjoy. Because I normally wear these sort of colours and I pair them with something warmer or a berry tone, that's why I tend to like these. As you can see, very different for me, but absolutely beautiful. So if you're looking for a really nice sort of like lavender toned silver, definitely one to check out. The next one is again a little bit like Trax. It can be a little bit of a dud. Now this is Nocturnal. It is in the pan, it's just the most beautiful purple. When I swatch it on my finger, it feels dry. It doesn't really transfer very well. I've really swatched that quite hard and look, just not great. Quite dry, not that pigmented, and a bit of a miss if you ask me. Moving on to something a lot more pretty, super pigmented and absolutely just heavenly. This is Twinks. Now Twinks is a brown with just the right amount of shimmer that works really nice on with something like Shale if you wanted to do more of a cooler tone eye, or something like Swiss Chocolate if you wanted to make it really nice and warm. Now with this shadow, again, a bit like some of the others I've shown you, it is beautiful for just doing all across the lid with very little else, but an absolute gorgeous colour if you are into your traditional nice juicy browns. And this brings me to my last one, which is possibly my all-time favourite MAC shadow. This is Sketch. Now I love Sketch. I love Sketch all over the lid. I love it in the crease. I love it as eyeliner. I just adore Sketch and how versatile it is. It's got a massive dent in it. I'm surprised I haven't hit pan actually. It is everything that Nocturnal and Beauty Marked aren't. It's pigmented, it feels creamy, it blends like a dream. It is super gorgeous, and it just does everything that we want. It is possibly the most perfect purpley burgundy tone for the crease that I have ever known. So here you can see just how beautiful Star Violet is. It's absolutely gorgeous, as is my gorgeous Sketch and Twinks. Shale is this one here, really pretty, but then looking at Trax and Nocturnal, you can see what I mean. They just don't have the pigment like the others. So we made it to the end. If you made it this far, congratulations, hats off to you. I know I waffled an awful lot. I hope it's not too choppy. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. Put in the comments down below what your favourite MAC shadow is, or which one you think you like the most from the swatches that I've done, that kind of stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and again, apologies it was so long, and thank you for making it all the way to the end. See you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye. Mwah.